The theater was unusually quiet that night. Not the kind of silence that comes from boredom, but the kind that feels heavy, as if everyone inside was holding their breath without realizing it. The lights dimmed softly, and the audience leaned forward, unaware that they were about to witness a moment that would travel far beyond this stage and into millions of hearts around the world. From the side of the stage, a thin boy stepped forward. He looked small under the bright lights, almost fragile. His clothes were clean but worn, the kind that told a story without words. His shoes were slightly scuffed, his shoulders tense. He walked slowly, as if each step carried the weight of everything he had lived through. The judges looked up. Simon Cowell tilted his head slightly, curious but guarded. He had seen thousands of auditions. He had heard every kind of sob story. Yet something about this boy made him pause. The boy introduced himself softly. His voice was calm but carried a tremor, the kind that comes from someone who has learned to be brave too early in life. He said he was from the Philippines. He said his family was poor. He said music was the only thing that made him feel free. When asked why he chose to audition, he hesitated for a moment. Then he spoke about his mother, how she worked long hours doing laundry for other people, how she would come home exhausted but still smile when she heard him sing. He spoke about nights when there was no electricity, when he would sing in the dark just to feel less afraid. He spoke about Hotel California, how he first heard it on an old radio, crackling with static, and how it felt like a story he could live inside when the real world felt too heavy. The audience was already quiet, but now it was something deeper. A shared stillness. The music began. At first, it was almost too soft to hear. His voice entered gently, carefully, as if he was afraid the song might break if he touched it too hard. But within seconds, something changed. The fear melted away, replaced by emotion so raw it felt almost dangerous. This was not just singing. This was confession. Every word of Hotel California seemed to come from somewhere deep inside him, shaped by hunger, by hope, by longing. His accent added a fragile beauty to the lyrics, making familiar lines feel new again. When he sang about a place you can never leave, it didn't sound metaphorical. It sounded lived. Simon's expression shifted. His usual skepticism softened. He leaned forward, eyes fixed on the boy, as if afraid to miss even a single note. The crowd began to react without realizing it. Someone covered their mouth. Another wiped away tears. A woman in the front row closed her eyes, letting the voice wash over her. As the song built, the boy's voice grew stronger. Not louder, but fuller. It carried pain, yes, but also resilience. It was the sound of someone who had suffered but refused to be broken by it. Halfway through the performance, something extraordinary happened. The boy closed his eyes, just for a second, and when he opened them again, it was as if he was no longer on that stage. He was somewhere else entirely. Somewhere safe. Somewhere he had created with music. The final notes rang out, hanging in the air like a question no one wanted answered. For a heartbeat, there was nothing. Then the entire theater exploded. The applause was instant and overwhelming. People stood up, cheering, clapping, some crying openly without shame. It was not polite applause. It was gratitude. The boy stood frozen, eyes wide, clearly overwhelmed. He bowed slightly, unsure of what to do, as if he couldn't quite believe what was happening. The judges tried to speak, but the noise drowned them out. When the room finally settled, Simon spoke first. His voice was quieter than usual. He said he had heard Hotel California 1,000 times, but never like that. He said it felt honest. He said it felt necessary. He admitted that for the first time in a long time, he had forgotten he was judging and simply listened. Another judge spoke about how the boy's voice carried a story that couldn't be taught. How it was something you earn by living. The boy nodded, tears finally escaping. He apologized softly, as if crying was something he wasn't used to allowing himself. Simon smiled gently and told him never to apologize for feeling something real. The votes were obvious. 4 yeses, given without hesitation. As the boy walked off stage, he covered his face, overwhelmed by emotion. Backstage, he collapsed into a hug with his mother, who had been watching with shaking hands and a heart full of prayers. She whispered something in his ear, words no microphone could capture, but the meaning was clear. Hope. That night, the performance spread like wildfire. Clips were shared across social media. Millions watched. Comments poured in from every corner of the world. People wrote about how they had heard the song before but never felt it like this. Others wrote about poverty, about dreams, about how music had saved them too. But for the boy, life didn't suddenly become perfect. Fame didn't erase struggle overnight. What it did was open a door. A door he had never believed was meant for someone like him. Weeks later, he returned to the stage for the next round. This time, he walked with a little more confidence, but the humility remained. The lights were brighter, the expectations heavier. He sang again, not to prove anything, but to remind himself why he started. And once again, the world listened.